In my day and in your day too, there were two-a-days going on this time of year. They don't really do that anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of it done changed a lot, Jay.
At one point in time, there was such a thing as three-a-days. They definitely don't do that anymore.
Yeah, right. Someone may go to jail. They got that going on, Jay.
That's right. Someone will go to jail.
May cancel a program, Jay.
All right, so we've got a lot of great stuff to talk about tonight, and we're gonna in this first segment, we're gonna get into the Alabama quarterback battle a little bit. It's Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. Those are the two guys that are fighting for that. Before we go forward, here's a quick reminder for you. If you like the show, hit that like button down there, the little thumbs up button, hit that. If you love college football, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you love somebody who loves college football, share the show with them. Let them know. Get them on board, okay? Doesn't cost you anything, doesn't take you much time, but it helps us out a lot. All right, Eltoro, let's get into the Alabama quarterback battle because it is, I would think, probably the most prominent quarterback battle maybe in the country. I mean, you're talking about one of the biggest programs in the country. So when Alabama has a quarterback battle, everybody wants to talk about it. You've got two guys, and I think there's some misconceptions about him. We'll get into that in a little bit. But it's Austin Mack going into his fourth year in college football. He originally signed with Kalen DeBoer at Washington, reclassified, signed as a 17-year-old, with the idea that he was going to redshirt for a year and then maybe sit for a year and then play. When DeBoer got the Alabama job, he transferred with him to Alabama, and he's been waiting now 2 years, coming up on his third year in Alabama. He's got 4 years in the system. Austin Mack is 6'6", 235. I mean, he's a monster and a really strong arm. Where do you see Austin Mack in this thing?
Well, to see that they having such a quarterback battle at this time and with the time that Austin Mack has been with Kellen DeBoer is concerning, Jay. And it's so concerning to the point where I feel like if the competition coach, I have to go with Keelan Moore. Did I say that correct? I'm sorry. With Keon Russell. I'm sorry. Yeah, I will have to go with him, Jay, the redshirt freshman.
Now, Keelan's from Texas, played high school in Texas, some of the best high school football in the country. Keelan Russell was a consensus 5-star recruit. He was rated kind of along that same line by the recruiting experts of Tua Tagovailoa and Bryce Young. He was that level of recruit, right? But Austin Mack's no slouch either. He was a top 75 recruit when he came out. I think I read he was ranked the number 8 quarterback in the country when he signed with Washington. So he's no slouch either. These are two talented dudes. But I want to push back on one thing you said because I believe this. I don't know how concerned I really am, and I'll tell you why. Kalen DeBoer, as a head coach, has never gotten quarterback wrong. He just hasn't. He had Jake Haener at Fresno State. He gets drafted in the 4th round, had a great career. He goes to Washington with Michael Penix. He gets drafted in the 1st round, has a great career. Comes to Alabama with Jalen Milroe, who really didn't fit the offense, but he still managed to turn him into a 3rd-round draft pick and had a good year, some ups and downs in there. And then, of course, last year, Ty Simpson, a first-year starter, kind of like Austin Mack had waited his turn, but he turns him into the number 13 overall pick to the Rams, who, Sean McVay and the Rams, no quarterbacks. So am I wrong in thinking that with DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, I just sort of trust them to get quarterback right? Does that make sense?
Makes sense a lot, Jay, but I tell you what, man, they got another concern, and that's that offensive line, you know what I mean? And so I think that's also a part of the decision-making as well, because if the offensive line isn't as good, I think you have to go with Keelan Russell, you know what I mean? That's the guy who's going to be able to, he's mobile, he can make things happen. And then you have Austin Mack, who's more of a traditional quarterback with the big arm, but he's mostly going to stay in the pocket. But if, if the offensive line is not, intact, then, he's not going to have a pocket to stay in, you know what I mean? So, it's a big decision, man. It's also just concerning to me, Jay, with, Alabama being the program that it is, and we going into fall camp still in competition, not naming a quarterback as your starter, and that delays the chemistry, you know what I'm saying, with the receivers, and it was with the whole offense, And so that's a problem that needs to get fixed very, very fast, Jay.
Before we go, because I got a couple of thoughts on that too, but before we move on and continue this conversation, big thanks to our anchor sponsor, Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC in Opelika, Alabama. They're right there near the Georgia line, and people from all over Georgia and Florida and Alabama come to Glenn Smith because of their selection. They've got between 500 and 600 vehicles on the lot ready for immediate delivery. And I'm talking trucks, GMC trucks, Chevy trucks, heavy duty trucks, 2500s, 3500s, ready to work. So if you need a truck that works, they can help you out there. It's Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika. Check them out at glennsmith.com, GLYNNsmith.com. You see the banner down there. All right. Here's my thoughts on how the offensive line could affect this. Keelan Russell is a better runner than Austin Mack because Keelan Russell's a super athletic kid. Kalen DeBoer went out of his way at SEC Media Days to let us know, hey, Austin Mack moves pretty good too. Sometimes with these big guys, it'll fool you because he's 6'6", 235, and it looks like he's not moving as fast as he is, loads long strides, runs like a giraffe, right? And so Kalen DeBoer went out of his way at Media Days to say, yeah, don't underestimate Austin Mack's athletic ability because he's got some. Here's the other thing, though. I watched Keelan Mack's high school tape, and I've watched the limited times he got on the field last year at Alabama. He can run. He's a great athlete, but he's not a runner, right? He's a quarterback who uses his athletic ability to move around in the pocket and look for opportunities to throw the ball. I've compared him. I haven't heard anybody else make this comparison, but you remember Caleb Williams at USC a few years ago.
Yes.
That was kind of Caleb Williams, outstanding athlete who also just happened to have a massive arm. But when he took off, it wasn't taking off looking to run 40 yards. It was taking off looking to get the ball in the hands of a receiver.
Downfield.
And that may be very valuable, especially if the offensive line isn't quite gelling as they go. I mean, they've got two scrimmages, right? The first scrimmage on the 13th, second scrimmage is going to be on the 20th. So the next two Thursdays, Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator, said their plan is they would like to name a starter after that second scrimmage and have about 2 weeks to get game ready with the starting quarterback working with the offensive line and the receivers and the backs. How important is that they get a starter named, or is that not important? If the competition's so close, do they just need to carry it over into that first game against East Carolina?
Absolutely not, Jay, because if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one quarterback. And, you need to have a guy that's going to lead your team, that everybody that's going to rally around, everybody can build that quarterback confidence, get the team behind him, man, and go out there and win ball games. You know what I mean? Like I say, man, this is Alabama. This is big time football, man. Big time program, man. I mean, like, telling the boy, his reputation online this year, man. Like, he has to get some things done, man. And this is one of the key factors in getting it done. Like, this is one of the key pieces. He has to name the quarterback. He has to give the quarterback, the nod or whichever one it is, and have enough confidence to get the team behind him, and let's rally behind. Let's go win football games. Because that's what he's gonna have to do, Jay.
I heard Ryan Grubb after one of the early fall practices. Somebody asked him what the two quarterbacks had done, what improvement had he seen, and he said that he thought that Keelan Russell got a lot better in the summer at taking care of the football, which is obviously
that's vital,
critical. And he said he thought Austin Mack had gotten a lot better over the summer and throwing on the run, right? Being able to get out of the pocket and still make something happen downfield. Do you have a sense? I mean, I just listening to the coaches, they're not giving anything away, man. I can't get a read on where they are, but do you have a sense of who you think is going to roll out there against East Carolina in the first snap?
I believe it's going to be Russell. I mean, but especially with the competition so tight, I believe they're going to lean towards Russell because of, with the time that Austin Mack has had under Kellen DeBoer, and we still have a question on, is he capable of leading the team at quarterback? I mean, and you got a, redshirt freshman behind you, man, that, I just, you lean to Russell. And I think he can give you more, Jay. I think he can give you more because guess what? Like you say, the talent's not far away. Both of these guys were two highly recruited guys. You know what I mean? And so 5-star guys, you know what I mean? And I think he gives you more, and especially with his scrambling ability. You know what I mean? And so, and also, man, in the spring game, man, he didn't do bad. He didn't do bad there.
He looked great in the spring game.
He looked good. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Jay, I think they lean toward Russell in this one, Jay.
I tend to agree with you. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this, Jay. Why do you feel the competition is so close?
I think my guess is that Austin Mack has a little better grasp on the playbook. That's just a guess on my part. I don't. Nobody's. The
Mm-hmm.
coaches haven't said that. But last year you watch Ty Simpson. He knew the playbook so well that without a running game and without good protection, I mean, he's slinging it, man. I mean, to the point that he got to be a first round pick because he understands. It's a very NFL type offense, right? It's progressions. It's not like 1-2 reads. They're reading 3 and 4 deep out there. And so my guess is that maybe Austin Mack's a little bit. Ryan Coleman Williams at SEC Media Days described Austin Mack as a human playbook.
Wow.
Right. So my guess is that Austin Mack's a little further along in the playbook. If you start Keelan Russell, and it's not that he doesn't know it, but maybe just not as well, maybe you have to dumb the offense down a little bit to let him kind of. Now look, the first 5 games are not the most treacherous games in the world. So you've got a little time to let that offensive line gel and let him, But I think it's going to be Russell just because I think it's the same reason that I thought in 2018 that Tua Tagovailoa would beat out Jalen Hurts. As good as Jalen Hurts had been, Tua Tagovailoa he was special. He just what he could do with his arm was just special. And
he proved that too.
Yeah, and I think Russell's kind of in that same vein, So, and he's had a full year now. I mean, he's been there a year. So, my guess is it's going to be Russell, but I don't know, man. It would not surprise me if Austin Mack was named the starter at East Carolina, and they both play in that first game, and somewhere down the line, be it on the road at Kentucky, at home against Florida State, at home against South Carolina, on the road at Mississippi State, maybe Keelan gets a look, right? It could be a different starter game 1 than it is game 11. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot of sense.
Partner, if you told me that the Tide got the offensive line right, I'd stop worrying.
Absolutely.
I think if you can develop a little bit of a running game, right? I'm talking about 4.5 yards a carry to help protect the quarterback. I trust them to get the quarterback ready to play. The offensive line's got to be better. And I don't know which way this is going to go. I'm leaning Keelan Russell. We'll find out, man. It's a big question mark for the Tide.
Absolutely, Jay. We definitely would find out. And I definitely agree with you 100%. If the offensive line was intact, it wouldn't worry me as much. It would be much concerning on them trying to figure out who the quarterback is. But with that offensive line in question, that really, they leave big question marks for the offense, for the Tide.